welcome to the Records weekly preview video, or I should say bi-weekly. We continue to have issues and forget about you guys each Friday, but this week we're back with only 3 games. We're not going to include Thursday night's games because by the time this goes up, they'll all be over. So we'll start with St. Joseph, which is heading to University Christian. St. Joe coming off its second win of the season against UC, now is one of the best teams in 2A. So probably going to be a very rough matchup, similar to the McClay kind of games, probably over very, very early and then get some time for the backups for UC and hopefully possibly a running clock.
Yeah, hopefully a running clock just so we can give our correspondent a little extra time to write his story. But, to me, one of those games where, St. Joseph does have some young skilled players, at quarterback, at running back, so they have, stuff to grow from, hopefully, potentially, and, a game like this can go a long way in, beating experience into them, which is, I think, is the best case scenario for this game.
Yeah, a big loss here is not really nothing for St. Joe to hang their hats on. I mean, this is a team that would probably push some of the county teams. UC is typically very, very good and really a perennial small school power. So for the Flashes, like Austin said, it's just about moving forward and trying to learn some things, but this is a very, very tough district, maybe one they might want to elect to get out of in the near future, like they were 2 years ago. But anyway, moving on to the next game is Matanzas at Nice. This is a huge playoff game. You probably may not have thought that would be the case a couple of weeks ago, but with Creekside losing to Matanzas last week, this is a game now for Nice that if the Panthers really want to make a playoff push, they're going to have to win. The same goes for Matanzas. Now, it's going to be an interesting game because you really can't know what to expect from either team. This is a Matanzas team that lost to Menendez and then beat Creekside, and that's a Creekside team that destroyed Menendez. So, can I really predict what's going to happen? Probably not.
You can, but I will blindly guess and just say that Nice is going to lose because this entire district has been just surprise after, surprise. The only thing that hasn't been surprising is Ponte Vedra winning. Basically each week, and even they had surprised when they lost to Orange Park at the beginning of the year. So, I think I'm gonna, I think Nice is a more talented team. I think Ulysses Bryant is easily one of the top backs in the First Coast region, and because of all the factors pointing towards Nice, I'm just gonna pick Matanzas because I really have no reason not to.
Typically Matanzas is not a team that I really take too seriously when they play county teams because up until the week against Creekside, they actually had never beaten a county team. So, but after that game, they've always been a team that have been, pretty talented, but they always hurt themselves, a lot of errors. So maybe they've turned the corner here. I'm gonna go with Nice, though, on the other end, just because I think that Bryant at this point is going to be a little too much for anybody to stop. Really, the only time that they lose is when he doesn't play well or when he was hurt. So if he does play well, doesn't fumble the ball like he did against Palatka, I think Nice can go into a game against Creekside later in the year that maybe will decide a playoff spot, but who knows at this point. So moving on, our final game is our game of the week, which is Ponte Vedra heading to Creekside. Now, this game, all time, is one of the best rivalries in the county because they both started at the very exact time. And they played each other twice in the first year and in the spring game, so they played each other 3 times in the course of a few months when they first started. And really, at that point, they were the only teams that they could compete with were each other. So it kind of spawned the rivalry, and that's just kind of how high school rivalries work. And of course, there was a brawl a couple years ago, and it's been back and forth. It was 4-2 in Ponte Vedra's favor. So I'm going to go with Ponte Vedra in this case. Creekside, I think, will put up a better fight than they did against Matanzas, but, Cole Mazza right now, I think, if I'm not mistaken, is actually weighs more than all the defensive players on Creekside's team, so it's going to be hard to stop him, but, that's not a knock on Creekside. No one has really stopped him.
Yeah, Mazza's going to be bigger than most high school players as it is, so that's, nothing really surprising, but I think the one thing I'm looking forward to in this game, and I'll be going there, writing a column with one of our correspondents, is that, let's see if the district can get any crazier and if Creekside can actually beat Ponte Vedra, because I guess Ponte Vedra might be due for a surprising loss or something at this point, but
yeah.
I don't expect that to happen. I expect Ponte Vedra to, continue their role that they've been on ever since, week 2, really, And I think this should be a good. I think it'll still be a good test for the Sharks.
Yeah, I think if there is a team in the district who can beat Ponte Vedra, it is Creekside, based on just the fact that I think they're the second best team in the district, and also because of the rivalry. But at the same time, the thing about Ponte Vedra with Mike Lloyd as the coach is that they're a running team, physical defense. They don't try anything too crazy, and when you have that kind of formula, you don't really get upset too often because you're just doing the same thing over and over again, and the chances of it not working are really pretty slim unless someone just flat out stops you. And in this situation, I just don't think Creekside has a defensive front that can really handle a running back who's that powerful.
But I haven't been really, that impressed with Ponte Vedra's ability to stop any of the opposing runs either. And Sandon and Hoxa of late have been pretty productive against the opposing defenses. So that's one thing to kind of look forward to. That might be kind of a wild card for this game. But yeah, if it's going to be the Creekside running game against the Ponte Vedra running game, it's going to be the Sharks.
Yeah, and then Sandon and Hoxa will have to be sort of similar to what they were against Menendez, which was they were just on the field basically the entire game. They must have played 75% of the snaps, just went to the two of them running the ball. And I think that's what you're going to have to do to beat Ponte Vedra. The problem is that Ponte Vedra is going to do pretty much the exact same thing. So if you're just going to take who right now has the edge at doing that one thing that makes them both good, it's Ponte Vedra. But like we said, anything can happen in these type of games, and one thing for sure is it'll be exciting, and it usually is whenever they meet. So, and a little bit of a revenge game for Creekside as they lost both games last year, including the second round playoff game. Yeah, that's all.